Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. Today we're going to be speaking about Bolivia, a country with enormous mineral and forest resources, and yet paradoxically, Bolivia is one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. Spiritually as well, Bolivia is poor. Although 80% of Bolivians declare themselves as Catholics, there is a great need for religious formation and for priests. To tell us more today, we have as our guest Father Ariel Beramendi, the Latin American representative at the Pontifical Council of Social Communications here in Rome. Before we speak with Father Ariel, let's watch now a small program which talks about the situations of Catholics in Bolivia.
The overwhelming natural beauty of South America provides the backdrop for a culture rich in traditional and religious values. A giant united by the Spanish language and the Catholic faith, South America maintains the ancient traditions, native languages and beliefs belonging to a variety of different native groups. Bolivia, the geographical center of Latin America, is living proof of this beauty and novelty. However, despite the instinctive kindness of the people and the wealth of natural resources, the majority of the population is deeply affected by poverty, a poverty for which the causes are multiple and often not easy to understand. For this reason, the work of the Catholic Church in consoling and helping to cope with the needs is essential. The Catholic Church in Bolivia undertakes health, education and social justice initiatives, often because the government is simply unable to respond. For decades, the Bolivian Catholic Church has received economic and pastoral support from priests and religious organizations from all over the world. Today, the Church is working to stimulate the emergence of an informed conscience and commitment from among the local Catholic population. Recently, the focus has been on young people, asking them to lead a life in accordance with Christian values. The consequence has been a renewed calling to the religious life.
Es vital el ministerio sacerdotal para la vida eclesial.
It is an urgent need to have people devoted to the religious life. That's why a seminary is the nerve center, the most important place in the life of the Church. Thanks be to God, we have many candidates, although less recently, still a good quantity. The number has been increasing since the 80s. The challenge is to offer an ever better quality of training. A number have left their education, spurring us to improve, to accompany the young, follow the teachers more closely, and so to assure the quality we are looking for. These are our concerns. The central issue is that the seminary is so important because it is a vital part of the local church.
Arnulfo Dorado Languidi is a seminarian who comes from San Rafael de Velasco, a village in the province of Velasco in southwest Bolivia, known as Chiquitania by the native people. This region is famous for its old Jesuit missions, their traces still visible since colonial times. These remarkable Jesuit buildings were at the origin of each one of the province's villages. The missionaries managed to infuse the native culture with a deep Catholic faith. This integration is still visible today.
El llamado como tal ha sido desde los grupos juveniles.
I felt the call when I was in a youth group. I was an altar boy, assisting the priests during liturgical celebrations. And I thought how beautiful it is to see how a priest offers the Mass. Little by little, I had my own expectations, my hopes, my goal. I can do the same. It marked my life. As time went by, my vocation became more mature.
Con el transcurso del tiempo también he ido madurando en esta vocación, ¿no?
As with many seminarians, Arnulfo grew up in a small village where, as a child, he experienced the importance of the church's presence for the community. Together with many children of his age, he received a religious education, the human values which would mark him throughout his life. In his catechesis, he learned the importance of community work, the meaning of honesty, and the value of family. Arnulfo helped his father raise the animals and vegetables, which they would later sell at the village to support the large family. Soon, however, he left the village to pursue his studies in the hopes of realizing his dream of becoming a priest. La Paz, the capital of Bolivia, is a typical urban center in Latin America. Although it boasts wealthy districts among the population of almost 3 million, the majority of its inhabitants are poor. The economy is moreover an informal one, the selling of a variety of products in the streets. This is not enough to respond to all the family needs, but does offer the means to survive. The geography of La Paz is impressive, somewhat like a giant pot between Cordillera Real, a mountain range belonging to Los Andes, and the Altiplano. The outskirts are an endless number of simple huts where the majority of the population live, those who have migrated to the city searching for a better life. The seminary in La Paz lies in the center of the city, as if confronting and responding to the challenges imposed by society. Young people come from not only this diocese, but also from afar, fostering the mingling of a number of different cultures, including the Aymara in the seminary. Considered as a special people of God, the Aymara people feel a heightened responsibility to the Church and to their educational formation. With great effort and limited resources, the La Paz Seminary has worked to improve their facilities, and especially the educational level. The seminary degrees are officially recognized by the Bolivian government, and the curricula are controlled by Catholic University in Bolivia. This academic resource also serves lay people, nuns and priests. In view of the limited finances, the local church needs the support of foreign institutions to improve and maintain the facilities. Aid to the Church in Need is one of the organizations especially interested in helping to train future priests.
Esa misión y esa tarea que Ayuda a la Iglesia Necesitada tiene.
Aid to the Church in Need has understood this mission. Since the very beginning, our founder, Father Berenfrid, said that if a seminarian was helped, his formation would provide for the future of the Church. Aid to the Church in Need provides, as one of its main priorities, help to seminarians, especially Bolivian seminarians. The simple reason is that if we have well-prepared young people, we will have a new, a flourishing Bolivian Church. If we take into account the number of bishops that are not Bolivian, it is evident that these students require proper instruction, discipline, and well-integrated preparation so that they too may one day become bishops. In this way, they will be able to lead the numerous dioceses and vicariates in the Bolivian wilderness, the most difficult areas of the country. Bolivia is and can be rich in vocations. It is necessary to provide the means.
Ser rico en vocaciones. Hay que proporcionarle los medios.
Hay que regarla esta para que se crezca rápido, porque está muy pequeñita.
Tiene harta flora.
Sí.
Arnulfo feels relaxed and comfortable back in his native village. He encounters those who cared for him during his early years. His father, who supported a large family and taught him the meaning of work and family loyalty. His mother, still an important example through her perseverance.
Tuve 10 hijos yo. Pues el sexto de mis
I have 10 children. The sixth child is going to become a priest. I feel a special happiness because it is a gift granted by God, the gift of being His representative here. God is so big. I always pray to God. I want Him to go ahead. He must not feel discouraged. I look forward to seeing him celebrate Mass.
Arnulfo does not fail to visit Sister Luisa, an Austrian nun who, from an early age, devoted her life to working in the village. Through her example, he understood the importance of consecrated life, the importance of completing what one promises, and the value of missionary work. Luisa's deep spirituality and simplicity is perhaps that which most inspired Arnulfo, and her prayers may still be one of the strongest and most important supports for Arnulfo's path in faith. It is getting late in this Bolivian Chiquitania, and time for the daily afternoon Mass. It doesn't differ much from the ones Arnulfo used to attend in his childhood. This ancient church takes on a special atmosphere. The deep Catholic traditions of this Bolivian village come alive, linking us with the early church. Built by natives under Jesuit missionaries, further developed by the Franciscans, and today under the care of diocesan priests, the church continues to be the center of the village. Arnulfo, who served Mass as an altar boy, today is getting ready for his ordination as a priest. With a special joy, he accompanies the priest, and as a deacon, he preaches the gospel to the familiar inhabitants of his San Rafael.
Es indescriptible ver en el rostro de las personas.
It is indescribable. The people's faces are full of happiness. They are weeping for joy, their joy. They are celebrating that one of their children has chosen this life. He has been inspired in his vocation. He has followed these steps in the village, and people wish him happiness. We support him and pray for him. Priesthood is a unique vocation, and it is unique for each person, as it's a life of service. We hope he can be ordained here in his village.
Esperamos que él venga a ordenarse a su pueblo.
Cochabamba is an important city in the country, characterized by a moderate climate and famous for the imposing image of Christ on a mountaintop at the entrance of the city. The National Seminary of the Bolivian Bishops' Conference is located here, and it is the home for every candidate to the priesthood from all over the country. The seminarians conclude their higher studies here. A few months ago, Arnulfo was here. This old and simple building sheltered him during the last stages of his education. Here, experiences, expectations, and their concerns are exchanged with fellow students from all over the country. Many of them hail from different parts of the country, where not only culture, language, and geography, but also the weather is different. However, they share a common motivation. Bolivia, a nation of beauty, art, and history, needs their service.
Welcome back. We're here with Father Ariel Beramendi, who is the Latin American representative for the Pontifical Council of Social Communications at the Vatican. Welcome, Father Ariel, and thank you for being here with us today. Father Ariel, Can you tell us, in speaking about vocations, when was the first time that you sensed your own vocation?
Well, in my life was a decision, basically, because I remember that since a boy, my mother and my grandmother used to take me to the church, and I used to enjoy that. And I started to join a prayer group for boys, then after a while for teenagers. And when I went to the university, I stopped with the church, and I would say that my relation with God as well stopped. And I asked myself,
a particular reason?
Yes, because I had more time for my studies. I didn't have more time for going to the church, going to with the young group of prayer. So I realized that after more or less a year, half a year probably, and then I say, what I'm going to do, and I say, I will try to follow God 100%. And I said to my parents about this, and they didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. And I tried for 1 year, and after that year in the seminary, the propedeutic year, I decided to follow with this vocation.
What was the reaction of your parents?
I remember very well they didn't believe me. My mother was, in one sense, sad, and my dad was he just didn't want to know nothing about this. That was the first reactions. But I must confess that my father, after many years, he was the most important person to support my vocation, and my mother as well. She said the day before leave the house, some hours before leave the house, she said, "You are always welcome to come, even if this is not your vocation. You are part of this family."
You are a diocesan priest. What are the different kinds of priests now that we can talk about?
Well, in Bolivia, obviously, there is a big difference between diocesan priests and religious priests. I may say as well that there are lots of foreign missionaries, religious or diocesan priests as well, that are not Bolivian. The percent, I would say, is more than half priests that are from
foreign missionaries and foreign priests.
In fact, the Bishop Conference as well is from 30 bishops, let's say, just 10 bishops are Bolivian, and not all of them diocesan. We have Polish, Germans, North Americans, Italians, and obviously there's a difference. The diocesan priests, for many years, we have been seen as the priests that are isolated, just celebrating sacraments in the countryside, and this basically was probably because the diocesan priest has no salary, has no community to protect or to support to the priest.
So you would say it's almost more difficult to become a diocesan priest than a religious priest, belonging to a religious community?
I would say that is a challenge. I want to be diplomatic in this way, but it's a big challenge to become a diocesan priest and to work for my own city, for my own town, for my people. That's why I will decide to become a diocesan priest. And obviously I know that there is lots of difficulties as well, because if the parish priest or the diocesan priest doesn't celebrate the sacraments, he's not able to live because he is not going to have resources. And this is, I think, very sad, but it's a reality in my country.
What are the reasons that young men offer or give for wanting to become a priest in Bolivia?
I mean, I will say that there is a commitment with the church, with God, with the society, and that will be the first motivation. And I would like to say that is the first motivation to become a priest, a commitment with the faith with Jesus Christ. Obviously, there can be lots of different motivations as well.
I ask because, for example, in Africa and other poor countries, often it's a reality that many young men see the priest, they see an education, they see a possible better future. Is that also a reality in Bolivia, where young men would come to the seminary because they see a possibility of bettering their future?
Well, I think it's a reality, as you say, as you just say. It's not just in Bolivia; it's a reality. but obviously the seminary and the Catholic Church or the diocese has to see who is, what kind of vocations have in the seminary, what kind of persons, what kind of motivations have been chosen to become a priest.
Of how many that enter into the seminary, how many would finish?
In my diocese, since time ago, every year, I would say that between 10 and 15 young lads will go into the seminary, and after 8 years, just 2 of them will become a priest.
So the church, despite this need for priests, the church nonetheless is very consequent in its decision to seek out the true vocations and to find the quality.
It has to be. Obviously, the formation, the period of training for priesthood is a very hard time, and I think is the most important element in the priesthood, the time in the seminary. So if the seminaries are not good, or if the formators are not good, I think we don't have good priests.
What would it be the biggest challenges that these freshly baked young priests would encounter? Are there shocks that they get having left the seminary and now going out into Bolivian society? What is the biggest challenge they would face?
Well, there are some challenges very important, basically because the society is changing. And as I said before, the commitment with the people, with the church, with the society is very important. That will be the big challenge, to be ready, to be able to speak about God in a society which doesn't believe in the church, which doesn't believe in God sometimes, because the secularism as well is in the society growing up.
Secularization is coming into Bolivia.
Yes, and in fact we are now making a new constitution, and I would say that there is a preconception about the Catholic Church, about the priests, that we have been having lots of privileges, lots of money, and it was just an idea. In fact, it's not true, but that has caused a reaction against the church, against the Catholics, against the priests. So this is a big challenge now for priests at this time.
There are still many foreign missionaries in Bolivia. What is the importance of the foreign missionaries to the church in Bolivia?
The Catholic Church is universal, and we can share the faith. We can share our resources, not just economically, materially. We can just as well share our faith. And I would say if there are some missionaries who can come to my country or to South America, that's good. Obviously, if they are able to respect all the structure, all the life, all the culture, all the faith, religiosity, I think is the word. If they respect that, they can make very good. And in fact, many of them are bishops as well in Bolivia.
You have a particular hope for the church in Bolivia, that it should become a missionary church. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I'm sure that the Latin American church, the Bolivian church as well, by the immigrations factors that we have and another factors and other elements, our mission is to become missionaries in the world. And for example, in Europe, inside our society as well, I mean, people say that we are the Latin American church is the hope of the Catholic Church, the continent of the hope. And this must be reality in a concrete way. And one of these things is for you, in one sense, if I can say, Europeans accept this reality that the are more or less empty, and now someone has to talk about God, to announce the gospel, and probably we have the opportunity as well to do this.
I think this is also the hope of Pope Benedict XVI. Even on his journey to Latin America, he spoke very much about this hope of the Latin American church.
Yeah, in fact, the meeting of the bishop, the whole meeting of Aparecida has finished with a very clear idea, which is to start a mission, a continental mission. So this means that we must have an attitude, a behavior of don't be afraid of our faith, but at the same time means that we must be able to speak about God with a society that doesn't want to talk about God, that doesn't want to hear about God. So the priest cannot just be inside the sacristy, if you wish. We have to be missionaries in a different ways.
And you are one of the first Bolivians here in the Vatican. So in a certain way, you're starting this mission.
Well, if you are trying to say that I am a missionary in the Vatican, yes, probably. But I take this like a service, like a mission. Obviously, it's a mission. I've been asked to come and to share what I am, my priesthood, my profession in mass media communication, and I would like to offer something to the church, not just to Bolivia in this case, but to the Latin American church, or even to the church, to the Catholic Church.
Father Ariel Beramendi, thank you for having been with us here today, and good luck with your continued work here in Rome, in the Vatican. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us here today on our program. And if you'd like to know more about the situation of Catholics, or perhaps how you could help Catholics in Bolivia, I encourage you to look at the contact information at the end of this program, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Where God Weeps.